Thanks for liking my videos and subscribing to my channel. I do appreciate it. My name is Tim. I bring you villages related content. In today's video, I want to go over this website called Two College Brothers. And the title of the article is Moving to and Living in the Villages, Florida. This article contains a lot of the things that I've been videoing and telling you over my videos over the last year or a year and a half since I've been doing videos. And I wanted to bring this video to you so you can understand what you can expect if you decide to move and live in the Villages, Florida. We'll go through this article. I will add my opinions and comments to each piece of this article. And the first article is A Guide to Living in the Villages, Florida. And the community was established by a local businessman, Harold Schwartz, who developed the villages back in the 1960s. And it began as a middle class, but expanded into more of a retirement community for people 55 years and older. What is the Villages known for? Known for hosting more than 50 golf courses. That is true. That is the primary reason people are moving to the Villages. They want to experience the golf courses. In particular, they want to experience the executive golf courses. And that's why I'm letting everyone know that the Villages is building fewer executive golf courses in the South. And a lot of the folks that live in the South are coming up to the north and to the middle portion of the Villages to play executive golf. Where is the Villages, Florida? We all know it is located in central Florida, near Leesburg, Florida. People of the Villages, the population and demographics, it is 97% Caucasian, 1% Asian, 23% German, and 12% Italian. And part of the article recommends you what neighborhoods you should move to. The Villages is about 31.3 square miles in total. It is split between Marion County and Sumter County. You can also add there's a small part of the Villages in Lake County that is down in the Dabney and Denham area. And this article recommends you live in the village of Duval. That village of Duval is located right here along Buena Vista Boulevard, a little bit north of County Road 466A. It is located a little bit north of the Seabreeze Recreation Center. The village of Collier is located a little bit closer to Brownwood Paddock Square. It is located a little bit south of County Road 466A. And the cottages of Summer Chase, those are located north of El Camino Real, in the northern part of the Villages. And all three of those neighborhoods they are recommending are located near Buena Vista Boulevard, and they are not located on the east side of the Villages where Morse Boulevard is. They do have a cost of living here. The Villages is 3%. The cost of living is about 3% higher than the national average, which is not too bad in my opinion. Residents should budget $272 per month for utilities, which is $100 higher more than the average. And here's some typical living expenses, and you can take that for what it's worth. And here's the crime rate data, and this is where I'm pulling my crime rate data and public safety data. Violent crimes are notably rare in the Villages, with a rate of 0.27 per every 1,000 residents. That translates into one violent crime for every 3,766 residences. And this is where I'm pulling the 1,044 crimes per 100,000 residents. which is about 54% lower than the national average. So the Villages is a very safe community in the state of Florida. The weather, obviously, it's a humid and subtropical climate. I cannot stress enough how warm, how hot, how humid it gets in the summertime. And the weather starts changing to very warm in the month of May, and it stays very warm usually through the month of October. In November, it starts cooling down, and it gets kind of cold in January and February by Floridian standards. So you need a long sleeve sweatshirt, long pants in those winter months. Things to do in the Villages. There's a lot of things to do. If you have trouble finding things to do, I think that's on you. There are over 3,000 clubs you can join. There are countless recreation centers that you can participate in. They also have a lot of indoor activities. You can play cards, you can play ping pong, lots of different things. There are things you can do in and around the Villages. You will not have any issues trying to find things to do. Lots of places to eat in the Villages. There are numerous places. Here they're naming the Lighthouse Point Bar and Grill. The Villages real estate. As of December 2024, the Villages has experienced a slight decrease in home values, and that does occur. But what I want to mention regarding this is typically, based on the research I've been doing over the last 5 years on the Villages, the state of Florida will experience real estate value declines, but generally the Villages real estate does not decline as much as the rest of the state of Florida. And that's typically due because it is inland, it is away from the bad weather, the hurricanes and the tropical storms. And I want to mention that I have met many people who owned real estate on the coastline near the oceans, and after some of the recent hurricanes, they decided not to rebuild their homes on the coastline. They decided to come to the Villages and live there away from the storms. The Villages does have charter schools. Those schools are typically made for the children of the workers of the Villages. Those schools are very good, have a very highly rated education system, as well as sports programs. Jobs in the Villages, there are a lot of jobs, part-time jobs. If you're a villager and you want to work part-time, you can either work for the Community Development District. They have lots of part-time jobs, usually in community standards. There are a lot of other retail establishments around and outside the Villages that are also looking for help. Transportation in the Villages. The most common form of transportation is the golf cart. And I think that's why a lot of people move to the Villages as well, is they want to experience the golf cart lifestyle. They have more than 90 miles of golf cart paths. While some parts of the Villages are walkable, you will likely want to have your own vehicle to travel. That is true. You cannot get everywhere via car. You do need a car to get outside the Villages, usually to doctor appointments, things like that. And here are the sports, the tennis courts, the swimming pools. They do have a polo club, and they do have a polo field. I did bring you a video on that a while ago. And if you haven't gone to a polo match, I recommend that you at least get to one of those. And they usually have those polo matches, I believe, on Fridays and Saturdays in the springtime of the year. Here are the pros and cons. I want to spend a little time on that. I think they lay this out very well. One of the pros is the Villages has beautiful mild weather for most of the year. That is true. It does get unbearably warm in June, July, August, and part of September, but the rest of the year the temperatures can be very moderate and nice. Comparable to other communities, the village is considered very affordable. Yes, and I did bring a video and mention this several times in terms of the amenity fee. The amenity fees are $199 per month, and then you have a maintenance fee that you pay once a year. That averages somewhere in the $500 or $600 a year category, and then you have a fire and safety fee that averages somewhere in the $325 a year range. And when you combine those items and you divide them by 12, your monthly fees to live in the villages are a lot lower than some of the other 55 plus communities in Florida. The Villages is a safe community, and I keep bringing that to you. I cannot stress that enough. The Villages is very safe. Even though they're not a true gated community, those gates do deter some of the crime, and there is very little crime in the Villages, Florida. Another pro, you'll never get bored living in the Villages. If you do get bored living in the Villages, it's your own fault. There is a lot of things to do. And another pro, you can visit many businesses, including 3 local libraries. And one of the other pros that they could add is that you can get to a lot of places using a golf cart and not your automobile. What are some of the cons of living in the Villages? While the weather is also an advantage, it can also be a disadvantage. In the months of June, July, August, and part of September, the temperatures can be unbearable. It gets very humid and muggy on some days. Another con, like everywhere else in Florida, the Villages has bugs. This one I haven't really noticed as much. It seems to come and go. They do have mosquitoes periodically, but the Villages does a very good job of fogging and spraying for some mosquitoes. They do fog occasionally. They have a large machine on the back of a pickup truck, and they typically drive around at night. I've seen them around 10 p.m. Occasionally they will drive around with a big fogging machine, and that's how to get rid of mosquitoes. They occasionally will have cockroaches. If you buy a pre-owned home that has not been upkept, there is a chance you'll see cockroaches in that home. They're fairly easy to get rid of. Keep your home clean. Spray for cockroaches. They also make some plastic traps for them, and they will disappear quickly if you maintain and keep your home clean. Another con, with a population 93% Caucasian, the area has limited diversity. I guess I would say that's true. Frequently asked questions about living in the Villages. What is the best town square? That is up to each individual. All the town squares provide entertainment. They're all nice, well kept. My personal preference is Lake Sumter Landing because of the water. What is so special about living in the Villages? Really the entertainment, the golf cart lifestyle, the golf lifestyle, making friends, lots of community activities. What is the most desirable village? The cottages of Summer Chase. That is totally subjective. I'm not sure why they pick that out. But you can't go wrong really with any village you live in the Villages. The HOA fees, this should be updated. They now are $199 per month. How much money do you need to live in the Villages? That's really up to everybody's own spending habits. If you eat out a lot, you're going to need more money than if you eat in most of the time. But if you live in Sumter County, the property tax rates are reasonable. The monthly amenity fees are reasonable. It is a very affordable place to live, which surprises a lot of people. Yes, there is assisted living options in the Villages, Florida. And how do you find a home? There are two major listing services that you can find a home living in the Villages. One is the VLS, the Villages Listing Service. That's a proprietary listing service that the Villages owns and operates, and they will sell their new homes through that. And some of the individuals will choose to use that service to list their pre-owned homes for sale. You can also go to the multiple listing service and work with your own real estate agent, and you can purchase a pre-owned home from the Villages that way as well. That is your video for today. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. I hope this video provided some interesting content for you. Take care and stay safe. Have a great week, everyone.